Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So, back with the first real video since my vacation, and this video is going to be an 8.1 update preview. Now there are a ton of buffs and nerfs and stuff to go over this update, so let's go ahead and jump right into them. So the first thing, the Badger right here is going to be getting a buff, 4 kilometers an hour plus to the top speed, and as well, better dispersion when rotating the turret. Pretty good buffs there to the Badger, or it always needed a little bit more mobility and accuracy, so those are both good. The Horai Type 2, aka the Tier 9 Horai, is getting a big nerf here on the terrain resistance, basically just making this a little bit of a slower tank. AMX 50-120 is getting a pin nerf, of 12 millimeters on its stock gun, so that's really nothing to worry about. T28 is getting penetration buff by 5 millimeters on its stock gun. T28 prototype as well is getting the same buff. Horai Type 1, the Tier 8 Horai, is going to be getting quite a few buffs here. Engine power is going to get another, 80 engine power. The effective power to weight ratio is going to go up on all terrains, and the traverse speed is as well going up on all terrains. So just basically just making this a more mobile tank. T34-2 on one of the many stock guns here is getting a penetration nerf by 15 millimeters. AMX 50-100 on the second stock gun is getting a penetration nerf by 12. The stock P44 Pantera gun is getting a negative 5 millimeters of penetration nerf, and the T20 will be getting a HP buff of 100 and as well a reload buff by about 0.4 or so seconds right here, which I think is needed. The reload on this tank was a little long, and as well some more HP for a medium tank like this I think is as well needed, so a great buff there. T23E3 is getting more HP as well, similar buff for the HP for that tank as well, basically buffing the medium tank Americans HP because they did need it. The Eagle 7 will be getting another 2 kilometers an hour top speed. The T29 will be getting a nice reload buff here by about 0.2 seconds or so. Nothing massive, but it's always a good thing to have a buff. M6A2E1 will be getting a traverse speed buff on all terrain. T25AT will be getting a 5 kilometer an hour nerf on its top speed, which that actually did not know it was that fast. 56 kilometers an hour top speed on that tank. I really did not know that. T25/2 is getting a 5 millimeters more of penetration. T28 HTC is getting a penetration buff by 9 millimeters on its AP and its APCR by 11. LTTB is getting a massive nerf here on its mobility. The engine power is going down by 70, and the effective power to weight ratio and traverse speed on all terrains is going down by a lot. And this right here, I have to say, is horrible nerf. I hate that they're doing this. I love the LTTB so much for its mobility. It just zips around the map. It's so much fun to play. And the fact that they're nerfing this is actually a horrible idea, and I really don't know why they did this. It had been fine how it is for so long. I'm really sad that they're doing this. This basically will make the LTTB from basically the free-to-play Dracula to just a fast-ish light tank, you know? I mean, the engine power and that terrain and traverse speed was what really made this tank so good. And now that that's pretty much gone down the drain, it's going to be a mediocre to good tank, I think, still. So then as well, we continue with the HP on the Tier 7 mediums buff here, all these tanks right here, and the IS here is as well going to be getting quite a few buffs and nerfs here. So the base aim time is going to be going down by about 0.4 seconds. The weight of this tank will be going up by about 2 tons though, and the effective power to weight ratio and the traverse speed on all terrain will be getting nerfed. Not by much, really just by a little. I think that's because of the weight increase. I'm pretty sure is why that's happening. KV3 is going to be getting a base aim time buff as well by about 0.3 seconds, as well a dispersion buff by about 0.2 seconds. Definitely needed this. This tank is very inaccurate, and it is in dire need of a accuracy buff. Not a big one, but this is a small one. It will help some at least. The dispersion as well on the tank when moving is going to be buffed by 0.2, but the traverse speed on all terrain is going to be nerfed as well. The top speed is going down by 2. The SU-100M1 is going to get a traverse speed nerf. The SU-122-44 will get a base aim time buff and a dispersion buff as well. I think this is a good buff. This tank always felt like it was a little bit more inaccurate than it should be. ISU-122S as well is going to be getting a dispersion buff. The SP1C, or the SPIC, whatever, is going to be getting a reload buff on the time before the next shell is ready. Will be going down by 0.5 seconds. That will be a nice buff here. It's not a massive buff, but I do think it is a needed one. It had a pretty long intra-clip reload there. The Panther is going to get an HP nerf by only 20, so really not that big of a nerf here. Wasn't too big of a deal. J Panther is going to be getting 5 kilometers an hour slower. And the Stir email is going to be getting quite a few buffs here. Engine power going up by 60. Effective power to weight ratio is going up on all terrain. Same with traverse speed. And the speed forward is going up by 5. Pretty good buff there. That tank was extremely immobile before. Hopefully this should help with that some. The Comet is as well getting a traverse speed buff and a top speed buff. Glad they're doing that. The top speed on the Comet always felt a little low. Black Prince is going to be getting a aim time and dispersion nerf, but the speed forward will be going up by 5. So overall, honestly, I would call this a buff because it is a it's a pretty accurate tank right now. It's not going to be the most accurate now, which is a little sad, but it will have much more mobility with that top speed. The Challenger is getting a weight buff here, or I guess it's going up. I'm not sure if that's a buff or a nerf. Maybe it's a buff if you're getting rammed, a little bit of a nerf for your speed here, because the effective power to weight ratio and the speed forwards are going down, but the traverse speed is going up, which is a little interesting. The Chiree is getting an engine power buff here, and a traverse speed and effective power to weight ratio buff. IS-2 Prava SP is getting a base aim time buff by about 0.1 seconds. T-34-1 is getting an HP buff, base aim time buff, and a little bit of a nerf there on that penetration. The IS-2 is getting a base aim time buff and a dispersion buff here as well. That felt needed. It's a very big bloom there and long aim time. Traverse speed on the T-34-2G FT is going to be getting nerfed. The AMX-1357, the Mosquito, also known as that, is going to be getting a penetration buff on both its AP and APCR. Good buff right there. AMX M445 is getting a lot of changes here right there. This is a lot of changes. So the gun HP here is going to be getting a buff here by some up to 170. The DPM here is going to be changing by a lot. This is just so many changes here. So the gun HP here goes up. DPM is going to be going up by almost or around 400. Penetration going up by a lot here. This is on the stock gun, by the way. This is not the top gun of this tank. This is the stock gun. It's the better stock gun. I can't remember exactly what gun this is, but it's changing this one. The damage, though, will go from 310 down to 225. And so the crew damage will go down. The velocity will go up, though. Kind of the similar changes here on all the other ammunition types. Basically, what they're doing here is they're changing the caliber from a 105 to a 90 millimeter, which is what the top gun on this tank is. The top gun is a 90 millimeter, so that does make sense. Brings it more in line with the rest of the tank. Basically, just a little bit worse of a top gun on this tank. As well, they're going to be changing the effective power to weight ratio and traverse speed and concealment because this gun will be different right here. So the effective power to weight and traverse speed will be going down, but the concealment will be going up. So the P43 I can't speak. The P43 will be getting an HP buff by 50 and a penetration nerf by 5. And the Y5 ELC BIS is getting a traverse buff. Predator UM is getting penetration on AP and APCR buff. And the ARL 44 on the Top Gun is getting a penetration nerf by 12. So we're going to move on now to all the armor changes. Alright, so now we're moving on to pretty much the last thing of the update. As you can see, there are a lot of buffs and nerfs in this update. So the armor changes here. M48 Patton is going to be getting, what is this, a nerf or a buff? It looks like the lower and top plate will be getting a buff here on the tank. So that's going to be a nice buff there onto that. M60 will be getting a, what is the M60 getting? M60 is getting, honestly, I can't see what the M60 is getting. I can't tell exactly what the M60 is getting. So it's probably minor then. Wait, no, I see it. On the side of the turret right there, the armor is right there improving on the side of the M60's turret. I see that now. The M6 Yo is going to be getting, what is the M6 Yo getting? Honestly, I can't tell. Oh, wait, nope, there it is. Okay, so the armor of the, basically the gun mantlet, kind of the front of that, will be getting an armor buff right there. T95E6 will be getting a, looks like a removal, actually, of this right here, which is the little turret, not turret, little ball thing on the side of the tank right there. That will be getting removed. Or is it getting added? I think it's getting removed. I can't quite tell. T110E3 right here is getting a very big change right here. I'm actually not sure what these things right here are, how they show this like this. I'm not quite sure what that is, actually. So if any of you guys want to tell me what that is right there, I'm actually not sure what this is or what this means right here. So let me know that. And now the IS-7 is getting a, what is the IS-7 getting buffed or nerfed? Let me see. I actually can't really tell. I'm not sure what the changes on the IS-7 is. Oh, I think it's this little bit right here. Maybe on the top bit of that turret right there, kind of the side top bit of that turret is getting a little bit of a buff, it looks like, to the armor on that. So very minor change right there. The E100 is going to be getting a little bit of a change here on the turret. It is kind of going to be set backwards a little, kind of towards the other side. I'm not sure if this is going to affect the armor profile any, but we will have to see. I don't think so. I think there's just more aesthetic, but possibly will affect the armor profile a little. Not quite sure. And as well, the same thing is kind of happening here to the Jag Panzer E100. They are changing the gun mantlet, kind of just recentering it and changing the shape of it a little. It looks a little better there. And the FV215B will be getting a, what buff, excuse me, I can't speak. Buff or nerf is this tank getting? I'm not quite sure. I can't quite see what this tank is getting right here. So if you guys do know what the changes to the FV215B are, let me know in the comments below, because I actually have no idea. Now, the 113 GFT will be getting a armor nerf, it looks like, to the plate of armor. Kind of that upper plate right there is going to be getting a massive nerf there, which always that did trick you. You think you can pin it, but you actually can't. So that is getting a pretty big nerf on that upper plate right there. The 50B is going to be getting a massive armor buff here on the top of the turret. Basically, how that bottom of the turret is all troll like that. Basically, now the entire top of the turret will as well be like that. Probably going to help out the 50B a lot in a lot of situations, getting a lot more bounces. The Foch will be getting as well a little bit, tiny bit of a buff right here. If you can see that armor buff right there in the back, kind of behind that commander's viewport right there, right there, that is getting a little bit of a buff right there, I'm pretty sure. Now the Kranwagen will be getting, what is the change to the Kranwagen? I'm not quite sure what the change to the Kranwagen is, and since this video is already super long, actually I can't see it, it's right there, it's very minor, really not that big of a change, I'm pretty sure. I think I see it, actually. I'm not even sure if that is the thing. Not sure what's going on right there. But since we are running out of time in this, well, not running out of time, since this video is so long, I'm going to go ahead and zoom past that. Looks like the change to the T95 here is the armor of this side armor right here, this spaced armor, I'm pretty sure. Looks like it's going to be getting nerfed a slight bit, brought to the same amount as the track armor. T54 will be getting, looks like a, not sure what they're changing on the T54. I think they're doing something on the turret, maybe? I'm not sure. Not sure what's going on with the T54. ST1 is going to be getting an armor buff to the side of the turret. That was already always pretty weak right there, so I'm glad they're buffing that. Good buff right there. The Object 704 will be getting a buff or nerf. Let's see what it is. Not as well, I'm not sure what the nerf or the buff on the Object 704 is. Again, if you guys know any of these buffs or nerfs, let me know, because I actually don't know what they are. VK45.02B will be getting, looks like a slight change to the gun mantlet there. It's just kind of going back in a little bit, so very small minor change there. E75 will be getting a change on the gun mantlet. Looks like a big nerf of the armor on the gun mantlet. So I'm not sure if it's still, I'm guessing it's still impenetrable just because that's how gun mantlets generally are, but it looks like a little bit of a nerf to the E75's gun mantlet. Now, the Conqueror. So the Conqueror will be getting, it looks like, honestly, I can't tell. Again, there's so many of these that I just can't tell what they're changing. It's so minor. You know, if it's just a few millimeters in the back, a little corner in the back or something, it's so hard to actually tell what they're doing. So again, I can't tell what they're doing on the Conqueror. WZ-120 is going to be getting, what is the WZ-120 getting? Again, I'm not sure what most of these are. I really can't tell what they are doing to the tank as well. I can't tell there. What are they doing to the WZ111-14? Looks like the side armor is going to be getting buffed on the tank right there. Nice little buff just to add to the tier 9. Man, how many tanks are there? Yeah, guys, I'm not going to go through all the tanks. I did not know there were this many. Oh my goodness. What is this? This is ridiculous. Okay. Did not know there were this many changes. Holy moly. Alright. So, sorry about that. I'm not going to be doing the rest of the armor profiles. This video would be ages. You got the main buffs and nerfs there, that earlier section of the video. Sorry about that, guys. I did not know there was like 50 of them. Usually there's like 5. Hope you guys enjoyed the video still, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.